My husband said he was working late at the office, but his office was my sister's bedroom. My dear listeners, I'm Auntie Grace. I know that sounds like something you'd read on the internet and think, no way that's real. But I promise you, it happened. To me. And the way I found out, the way I planned my revenge, that's the part that still keeps me up at night. Not with regret, with satisfaction. Let me tell you how it started. How I went from being a trusting wife to the woman who walked into her sister's apartment with divorce papers, a lawyer, and both of our parents, and burned their entire world down. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. I always find it fascinating to read which cities and countries you're listening from, so don't hesitate to write a comment. Happy listening. 6 months ago, I had what I thought was a good life. My name's Rachel. I'm 34 years old, and I've been married to my husband David for 8 years. We met in college, fell in love over late-night study sessions and too much cheap coffee, and built what I thought was a solid marriage. Not perfect. No marriage is, but good, honest, safe. David worked in tech sales, long hours sometimes, but good money, and he seemed happy. We lived in a nice 2-bedroom apartment in Chicago, talked about buying a house someday, maybe having kids. Normal dreams, normal life. My sister Lauren is 2 years younger than me, 32. We'd always been close growing up, shared a room until high school, told each other everything, had that sister bond people write songs about. She was my maid of honor at my wedding. I was her emergency contact. We texted every day, had dinner together at least twice a month. She worked as a marketing coordinator, lived alone in a 1-bedroom apartment about 20 minutes from us. Single, always dating, but never seriously. I'd joke with her about finding the one, and she'd roll her eyes and say she was too picky. I trusted her completely. God, I was so stupid. It started small. The kind of thing you notice but don't really notice, you know? David started working late more often. 2, 3 nights a week, sometimes 4. He'd text around 6. Babe, sorry, client meeting running long. Don't wait up for dinner. At first, I didn't think much of it. Sales has unpredictable hours. I'd eat alone, watch TV, go to bed. He'd come home around 11 smelling like cologne and nothing else, really. No food smells from a restaurant, no coffee on his breath. Just cologne and exhaustion. How was the meeting? I'd ask. Long. Exhausting. I just want to sleep. And he'd kiss my forehead and turn away. The thing is, when someone starts lying to you, they change. Small things. David stopped looking me in the eye as much, started keeping his phone face down on the table, showered immediately when he got home instead of collapsing on the couch like he used to. And then there was the cologne. David had worn the same cologne for years, something woody and subtle I'd bought him for Christmas 3 years ago. But suddenly he was wearing something different, sharper, more expensive smelling. New cologne? I asked one morning. Oh yeah. Client gave it to me as a gift. Figured I'd try it. Maybe that was true. Maybe it wasn't. But it stuck in my mind. This tiny splinter I couldn't quite pull out. The real alarm bell came when I noticed he started working late on very specific nights. Tuesdays and Thursdays, like clockwork. Sometimes Saturdays, claiming weekend client calls. I'm not a naturally suspicious person. I've never been the type to check phones or snoop through pockets. But something in my gut, that instinct women have, the one we're taught to ignore because it's paranoid or crazy, that instinct started screaming. So one Thursday night, I did something I'd never done before. I followed him. David left work at his usual time, 6:30. I knew because I'd parked down the street from his office building, heart pounding, feeling ridiculous and terrified in equal measure. He got in his car and I followed. Not too close, a few cars back, like some kind of amateur detective. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. He didn't go to a restaurant, didn't go to his office for a late meeting. He drove straight to the north side, to a neighborhood I knew very, very well, because it was Lauren's neighborhood. My stomach dropped as I watched him pull into the parking lot of her apartment complex. He parked, checked his phone, and walked toward the entrance like he'd done it 100 times before. I sat in my car, 2 blocks away, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. No, I thought. No, it can't be. Not her. Not Lauren. But there was his car, in her parking lot, on a Thursday night when he was supposed to be at a client meeting. I waited 30 minutes, an hour. He didn't come out. I drove home in a daze, made myself tea I didn't drink, and sat on the couch, staring at nothing, until I heard his key in the lock at 11:15. "Hey, babe," he said, kissing my forehead. "Sorry I'm so late. Brutal meeting." "How'd it go?" I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. "Exhausting. I'm gonna shower and crash." I watched him walk down the hallway and I felt something inside me turn cold. Not hot with rage, not broken with grief. Cold, calculating, clear. Because I knew, in that moment, that I wasn't going to confront him. Not yet. I was going to find out exactly what was happening. I was going to gather proof. And then I was going to destroy both of them. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I didn't sleep at all that night. Just lay there in the dark next to David, listening to him breathe, wondering how long this had been going on. Wondering if I was crazy. Wondering if there was some innocent explanation I was missing. But deep down, I knew. When David left for work at 8, I waited exactly 15 minutes. Then I drove to Lauren's apartment. I didn't know what I was looking for. Confirmation, maybe. Or proof that I was wrong, that I was being paranoid, that my husband wasn't sleeping with my sister. I parked across the street and just sat there, watching her building, feeling insane. And then, at 9:30, David's car pulled into the parking lot. My heart stopped. He parked in the same spot as last night, checked his phone, got out, walked to the entrance, used a key to let himself in. He had a key to my sister's apartment. I sat there for 2 hours. He didn't come out. Around 11:30, I saw movement in what I knew was Lauren's third-floor window. 2 figures, close together. Too close. That's when I knew for certain, and that's when I made my decision. I didn't cry. Not then. I drove home, made myself lunch I couldn't eat, and I started planning. See, here's the thing about betrayal. When it's this big, this unthinkable, you have 2 choices. You can explode, confront them immediately, scream and cry and demand answers. Or you can go cold, strategic. You can make sure that when you strike, it's devastating. I chose option 2. First, I needed proof. Solid, undeniable proof. Not just I saw his car or I think I saw them through a window. I needed video, audio, something no one could explain away. That's when I remembered the doorbell camera. Lauren had mentioned a few weeks ago that she was nervous about package theft in her building. I should get one of those doorbell cameras, she'd said over brunch. But they're so expensive. "I'll get you one," I'd offered. Early birthday present. She'd hugged me, thanked me, said I was the best sister ever. Yeah. So I ordered a doorbell camera online, one of those ones with 2-way audio, motion detection, cloud recording, the works. Sent it to her apartment with a note. "For my favorite sister, stay safe. Love, Rachel." She texted me 2 days later. "OMG, thank you so much. Installing it this weekend. You're the best." I texted back, "Anything. For you." The irony tasted like poison in my mouth. The camera went live on a Tuesday. I downloaded the app, logged in with the account I'd created, and suddenly I had a front row seat to my sister's front door. I didn't have to wait long. That very first Thursday at 7:15 p.m., David appeared on the screen, clear as day. He knocked, she opened the door, and they kissed. Not a friendly peck, a deep, familiar, married people kind of kiss. Then they went inside. I watched the notification on my phone, motion detected at front door, and I felt something inside me shatter and reform at the same time. The part of me that was a wife, a sister, a trusting person, she died in that moment. What replaced her was someone colder, sharper, someone who knew exactly what needed to be done. Over the next 3 weeks, I watched. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, sometimes Saturday mornings when he claimed he had early conference calls. Motion detected. David arrives. They kiss. Door closes. Sometimes he'd leave at 11. Sometimes he wouldn't leave until morning. Those were the nights he claimed he was staying at a hotel near a client site. I saved every video, downloaded them to 3 separate hard drives, backed them up to a secure cloud account, and I didn't say a word. 2 weeks into my surveillance, I made an appointment with a divorce attorney. Her name was Patricia Chen, and she came highly recommended by a college friend who'd gone through a messy separation. I sat in her office, glass windows overlooking downtown Chicago, expensive art on the walls, and I told her everything. I showed her the videos. She watched them without expression, then looked at me. How do you want to proceed? I want to file for divorce, immediately. I want it ironclad, and I want to serve him in a way he'll never forget. Do you share any assets? Joint accounts? Joint checking and savings, about $40,000 total. The apartment's a rental in both our names. No kids, thank God. My car's in my name, his is in his. Patricia nodded, taking notes. Illinois is a no-fault divorce state, which means adultery doesn't technically impact the settlement, but emotional distress, documentation of deception, these things matter. With this level of evidence, we can absolutely ensure you're protected. I don't want his money, I said. I make my own. I just want out, clean, final. What about the joint accounts? I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. I'm going to empty them. Put the money in a new account in my name only. He can fight me for half if he wants, but I'm not leaving a penny for him to access. Patricia raised an eyebrow. That's aggressive, but legal, as long as you're prepared to account for it in the settlement. I'm prepared. And the sister? What about her? Do you want to pursue any legal action? Alienation of affection lawsuits are difficult in Illinois, but... No, I interrupted. I don't want her money either. I want her shame. I want everyone to know what she did. I want my parents to know. His parents. Every single person in both our families. Patricia leaned back in her chair. When do you want to serve him? My sister's birthday is in 3 weeks. There's always a family party. I'm going to show up with the papers, and you, and my parents, and I'm going to make sure everyone sees. Patricia was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. I'll clear my schedule. The next 3 weeks were the longest of my life. I went to work every day, came home, made dinner, had conversations with David like nothing was wrong. How was your day? Fine, babe. You? Client meeting tonight. Okay, see you later. Every word felt like swallowing glass, but I played the role perfectly, the oblivious wife, the trusting sister. Lauren texted me regularly. Dinner this week. OMG, look at this meme, LAL. Can you help me pick a dress for my birthday party? I responded normally. Made plans I had no intention of keeping. Helped her choose a dress she'd regret wearing. Meanwhile, I was systematically dismantling my life with David. I moved money from our joint accounts into a new account at a different bank. Not all at once. Small transfers, spread over 2 weeks, nothing that would trigger alerts. By the time I was done, there was $300 left in our joint checking. I photographed every important document in the apartment. Tax returns, insurance policies, the lease, everything. I backed up every photo of us from our shared cloud storage, then deleted my access. I packed a bag, clothes, toiletries, important papers, sentimental items, and left it at my best friend Sarah's house. I changed my passwords on everything, email, social media, bank accounts, Netflix, everything. And every night I watched the doorbell camera footage. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday morning, like clockwork. David and Lauren, my husband and my sister, in her apartment, living a whole separate life while I played the fool. But not for much longer. Lauren's birthday party was scheduled for Saturday, November 18th at 2 p.m. At her apartment, of course. She'd invited the whole family. Our parents, our aunt and uncle, a few cousins, some of her friends. She texted me 2 weeks before. You're coming to my party, right? I need my big sis there. I texted back, Wouldn't miss it for the world. 1 week before the party, I texted her, "Hey, I'm so sorry, but I think I have to miss your party. Work emergency came up. I feel terrible. Can we do dinner just the two of us next week?" Her response, "OMG, no, but I understand. Work is work. Yes, let's do dinner. Love you." "Love you too," I typed back. And I meant it. Or I had meant it. Once. Before. What she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I'd be at that party after all. Patricia had the divorce papers ready. All I needed to do was show up, serve them, and watch everything burn. 3 days before the party, I told David I had to go out of town for work. A last-minute conference in Minneapolis. I'd be gone Friday night through Sunday. "That's too bad," he said, not quite hiding his relief. "Lauren's birthday is Saturday." "I know, I already told her I can't make it. Can you go and give her this for me?" I handed him a wrapped present, a nice scarf I'd bought weeks ago. "Of course," he said, kissing my cheek. "Have a safe trip." I smiled. "Oh, I will." Saturday afternoon, November 18th. I woke up at my friend Sarah's apartment, where I'd been staying since Friday night. My stomach was in knots, but my hands were steady. I'd rehearsed this moment in my head 1,000 times. Today, it became real. At 1:30 p.m., I met Patricia in the parking lot 2 blocks from Lauren's apartment. She handed me the divorce papers. Thick, official, final. "You ready?" she asked. "More than ready." My parents arrived 10 minutes later. I'd told them everything the night before, showed them the videos, watched my father's face turn red with rage, my mother cry into her hands. "Let's go," I said. We walked up to Lauren's apartment at exactly 2 p.m. Through the door, I could hear music, laughter, conversation. The party was in full swing. I knocked. My cousin Jessica opened the door, smiling. "Oh my God, Rachel, I thought you couldn't make it." "Surprise," I said flatly, walking past her. The apartment was full. 20 people, maybe. Balloons, a cake, a birthday banner. Lauren was in the center of the room, laughing. And there, standing next to her with his hand on the small of her back, was David, my husband. The room went quiet as people noticed me. Then my parents. Then Patricia in her sharp business suit. Lauren's face went white. "Rachel, I thought you were in Minneapolis." "I lied," I said calmly. "I needed everyone here to witness this." David's hand dropped from Lauren's back. "Rachel, what are you—" "Shut up," I said, not loud, just cold. "You don't get to talk yet." I turned to face the room, 20 pairs of eyes staring at me. "My husband has been cheating on me," I said, my voice steady, "for at least 3 months. He'd come home from his late client meetings and lie to my face. He'd tell me he loved me while texting someone else." Gasps from the crowd. "And you know who he was cheating with?" I looked directly at Lauren. "My sister. My baby sister. The woman I trusted more than anyone in the world. She was sleeping with my husband." Lauren was crying now. "Rachel, I'm so sorry. I never meant—" "You never meant what?" My voice cracked with heat. "You never meant to let him into your bed every Tuesday and Thursday while I sat at home alone?" I pulled out my phone, connected it to her TV, and pulled up the doorbell camera footage. On the big screen, crystal clear, David arriving, knocking, Lauren opening the door in a silk robe, them kissing, the door closing, the timestamp. Thursday, November 9th, 7:23 p.m. The room erupted. My mother made a sound like a wounded animal. My father looked ready to kill someone. "I have 3 months of footage," I said over the noise. "Every single visit, every lie, all documented." David backed toward the door. "Rachel, please, let's talk about this privately." "No." I nodded to Patricia. "We're done talking." "David Mitchell," Patricia said in her crisp lawyer voice, "you're being served with divorce papers." I held out the folder. He didn't take it, so I dropped it at his feet. "It's over," I said. "I want you out of the apartment by Monday. I've changed the locks. Don't contact me except through my lawyer." He tried to touch my arm. I jerked back. "You don't get to touch me. You made your choice. Every single day for 3 months you chose her, so now I'm choosing myself." I turned to Lauren. She was collapsed on the couch, mascara running. "And you," I said softly, "you took everything that mattered to me. So here's my gift. You get to keep him. You get the man who lies, who cheats, who'll do to you exactly what he did to me. Congratulations, sis. He's all yours." My mother stood up. She walked over to Lauren, and for a moment I thought she might comfort her. Instead, she slapped her. Not hard, just a sharp, shocking crack. "How dare you?" my mother said, voice shaking. "How dare you do this to your sister? I raised you better than this." My father grabbed David by the shirt and shoved him toward the door. "Get out," he growled. "Get out before I do something I'll regret. And if you ever contact my daughter again, you'll regret it." David ran, didn't even grab his jacket. I looked around the room one last time, at the shocked faces, the ruined party, the birthday cake sitting untouched. "I'm sorry your party got ruined," I said to Lauren. Despite everything, some small part of me still remembered being her sister, but that part was dying. "There's nothing to explain," I said quietly. "You did this, both of you. Now you get to live with it." I walked out. My parents followed. Patricia followed. In the parking lot, I finally let myself shake. My mother hugged me tight. "You were so strong," she whispered. "I don't feel strong," I admitted. "I feel broken." "You're not broken," my father said. "You're going to heal, and you're going to be better than both of them combined." The divorce was finalized 3 months later. David didn't fight it. We split our assets, broke the lease, and I moved into a smaller place across town. A fresh start. Lauren tried to contact me once. A long email filled with apologies. I deleted it without finishing. My parents cut her off completely. I heard through a cousin that Lauren and David stayed together briefly, but it fell apart. Turns out, a relationship built on betrayal doesn't last. I focused on healing. Therapy helped. So did friends, work, and time. 6 months after the divorce, I went on my first date. Nothing serious, just coffee. It felt like progress. A year later, I realized I'd gone a whole week without thinking about David. Without feeling that sharp pain, that felt like victory. So that's my story. How my husband's office was my sister's bedroom. How I caught them and exposed them at a birthday party. People ask if I regret how I handled it, if I wish I'd been more graceful. Honestly, no. They didn't give me grace. They gave me lies and months of thinking I was crazy. They made me doubt myself. So I gave them exactly what they deserved: public exposure, truth, consequences. Was it harsh? Maybe. Was it necessary? For me, yes. Because when someone betrays you, especially someone you love, you don't owe them kindness. You don't owe them privacy. You owe yourself truth, justice, healing. And sometimes, healing requires burning everything down so you can build something new. I'm still building, still healing. But I'm free now. Free from lies, from betrayal, from people who didn't deserve my love. And that's worth everything. So let me ask you, if your partner was cheating with someone you trusted, how would you handle it? Confront them privately? Would you go public like I did? Or would you walk away quietly and let them live with what they'd done? And if you've survived betrayal, how did you heal? I'd love to hear your stories, because betrayal is lonely, but knowing others survived it helps. Thank you for listening, for letting me share this painful, real part of my life. Remember, you deserve people who choose you every single day without lies. Don't settle for less. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because here at True Heart Voices, every story deserves to be heard, and every heart deserves to heal. If you're listening, drop a number 1 in the comments. I've added 2 new stories on screen that everyone loves. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one with love.